Cool. So Aaron, let's get straight into it. I'm sure we've covered some of the topics that we found that people could benefit over the next coming week. So we'd just love your thoughts on that, how you'd approach those things, and giving people a bit of advice on how to tackle those things over the
Yep.
next week.
Yep, absolutely. Let's do it. So I was speaking to Arzam and the guys to see how you've all been getting on. I heard a lot of you have made some positive progress. Some of you are close to closing some deals now, landing some meetings, and overall, it's good to see some of the progress you've been making. I think the biggest thing, though, that will keep coming as an obstacle that we're seeing and you're probably all experiencing is overthinking. What are the action steps, and maybe sometimes feeling like it's getting a bit too much on how to deal with it. And it can really eat into our confidence, especially when we're starting something new and that we don't see necessarily the wins that we're expecting to get. And one thing I would get you all to first of all remember before we kind of dive into this, and sorry if I pronounce this completely incorrect, but you've got to remember your nia. Have I said that correctly? Your intentions, effectively.
Yeah. So it basically just means why you're wanting to do something, and what the genuine intentions that you have for doing something.
And it sounds so obvious, doesn't it? But what I've found in my 29 years of living on this planet so far is very few of us actually carry a sense of intention with us every day. Very few of us. And it's difficult because life will try and pull you in different directions all the time, and you can forget, and then you wake up a week later and go, I was meant to be doing that. So I think the first thing is for all of you is just actually set your intentions clearly of what it is you'd like to see happen. You may have different intentions that you believe are your own intentions based on other people's beliefs, but make sure you bring them back down to you. What are your intentions for your family, for your community, for your business, just for your day-to-day life? Because when you're stuck at the task of trying to do something new that on the other side of it can open up and unlock so much possibility for you, we can get our intentions so mixed up in the moment because there's a lot of potential stress in there, and it can cloud our judgment. And just again, I'll be honest, I face this. I still face it sometimes. We're all human. I'll keep premising that every time we speak. But just a raise of hands, who here would say they maybe don't have a clear sense of intention with their actions for their business right now? Just give me a thumbs up or a hands up if you've been struggling with or noticed it. This isn't a bad thing, by the way, because this is the beauty. If you can see this, we can unlock so much. You can go much further right now. So maybe I'll rephrase it. Who here does have a sense of intention with what they're aiming to do with their business right now? Great. Just to ask for some feedback from you guys, you don't mind just typing out, what do you say are your main intentions for getting this business up and going, and what drives you every day? Just a quick overview.
That'd be pretty good. Like just one word answers, like so we can relate with each other and kind of connect with the people who have similar intentions.
Yeah. I can see mine is freedom. Yeah. Pushing back from recent financial loss, getting my parents to stop working. Great. Family. Yeah. Want to take care of my family. Financial freedom to travel. Absolutely. So we've got that big intention. That's great, because that is going to be the thing that you need to then dive into when times get tough and go, right, why am I doing this again? Why is that important? And if you're struggling still to overcome that, don't be afraid to dive deeper into your intentions, first of all, because they're just a title, really. And sometimes they don't always, we need to get more meaning out of them. So it's good that you've got a broad overview, say family, and it's like, let's dive deeper into that. If you're finding you haven't quite got that drive and that motivation or that reasoning coming through, what is it about your family specifically? Do you want to have the best healthcare? Do you want them to keep working till they're 60 or 70? Do you want to be able to give them gifts at birthdays? Maybe simple things like that. You can have the big intention, the big one, but then it's scaling it back down to reality as well. Because where your intentions, where you might intend yourself to be over here, we've still got a bit of a journey. And that's where some of the frustration can happen, because it's like, oh, I've made these calls and they haven't picked up, or I haven't closed that deal, and now I can't reach this objective here. And that's a big thing to be mindful of. Don't get yourself caught up into that loop early on. Ultimately, there's a million and one things out there that you could do to achieve all this, to have freedom, to have financial stability. But I think also then you guys have all chose to be entrepreneurs and business owners for a reason, because you're aware of the pitfalls of what else is out there. But again, it comes down to our intentions more and more that we set each day, because no one's going to pull you out of the bed sheets, give you a cup of tea, get you going for the day, make your calls for you before you've built the system. And it's having that intention clearly set every day. Why am I about to go and do this? Why do I need to have good energy when I'm speaking to these people? Well, because I want to, and I'm going to have financial stability. I'm going to be looking after my family. And I am the example. You are all the examples. You're the leaders in your own individual lives. What you do now will echo to your friends and family and your community. By you becoming better, everything else is improved as well. And that's one thing I could say has been great watching this man up here, Arzam, do that. Because I've watched his journey as he's managed to grow and expand himself. He has grown and expanded his reach to his family, to his friends, to his community, to his marketplace. But it all comes back to that intention. For those of you who might be stuck on, I'm not really sure what is my bigger why and my bigger reason. See what just comes to your gut first. What does come to your mind? There's something, but it might just be such a broad topic. And what I challenge you all to do is break that down. So if it is, I don't know, I don't want to be stressed out or have lots of money. Great. What do you want the money for? The more specific you can get behind why you want what you want to get, it becomes so much easier to brush past the obstacles that you may face, because you just know they're obstacles. But it's when there's not a clear intention and a clear understanding of where you want to go, you get hit with that block and you go, I don't really know what I'm fighting this for, because I don't know what's behind the other side of it. There doesn't seem to be a strong enough reason behind it. And then you can just get stuck here looking up, overcoming this obstacle that doesn't seem like it wants to move. I don't know if anyone ever faced that before. I have, I'll be honest, faced that a lot. Just give a hands up if you've ever faced that before. And that's what we're all here about. Yeah, we've all been here. So first thing, remember your intention before you get started. Now we've got that out of the way. The next thing I'd look at is you've got your intention, you're moving forward. The next obstacle that comes up is, I want this to be right. I want this to be perfect. I want to look good. I want to sound good. I want to feel good in everything I do when I get started. And then that perfectionism comes in, hits you, takes your energy away, and then will stop you from moving forward yet again, because you think you've got to be perfect. You think you've got to say the right pitch, the right tone. You've got to get it nailed. Doesn't work like that in real life, does it? We all know that. It takes a lot of hours of constant, practice at your craft to get to that. Again, on the flip side, no one's going to batter you, tell you off, tell you you're stupid or wrong because you may have mumbled a few words when you spoke to your prospect. That is called being human. It's only a problem if you make it a problem. So I don't know how many of you have felt this, that maybe you put too much pressure on yourself when you're going to make those calls. You've got to psych yourself up. You've got to get yourself into that mind state, and then you're more in your head, thinking too much than doing the actions that just have to be done. Again, just give me a hands up if you've ever been there many times. It's just something you just have to get through, persist with. But again, your intentions, when you tie it to what you're trying to do, you can talk to yourself and go, you know what? Don't have to be perfect, do I? And I'll give you an example, right? In real life, I drive a car, passed my test many moons ago. I didn't pass with 100%. But guess what? I still have my license and I can still drive a car on the road. Maybe they should take it off me. No, I'm all right. But I imagine all of you didn't get 100% when you passed your driving test. But you passed nonetheless. But it wasn't 100%. And the same thing with business, and the same thing with cold calling and prospecting and anything at all in this world. You don't need 100%. You don't need to be perfect. It doesn't exist. And secondly, if someone just calls, let's say 50 people every day, and they're not worrying about how good or bad they sound. They just know the points they have to hit, and they do that for a week. There's going to be a pretty good outcome by the end if they do that every day, no matter what, and how perfect they say it, because they'll keep improving. The other side of it, if we sit there and we go, right, how am I going to nail the tone? How am I going to get that sounding a bit better? What about this? Oh, but what about that? What if the lead's busy? What if they tell me to bugger off? What if they do this? What if they do that? Before you know it, you spend all your time in here, no time dialing, no time emailing, no time doing anything, because we're trying to find that perfect in that, quite frankly, will never exist. I don't know, Arzam, if you want to touch on that at all.
Yeah. No, the first 2 points you talked about, setting the intention, and the second point is basically saying just get rid of the ego. And ego, not as in you thinking of yourself as something. It's more just, I need to have this amount of money. My effort needs to be worth this amount. I need to have it work the first time. That's basically ego. Just a story that you've attached to achieving things or just your life in general. And I'd like to give you a quick story to kind of explain this point that I'm learning myself this week. So unfortunately, this week, my grandma, who lives with me, has had to go to hospital. She's 83, had this infection. She couldn't breathe, so we had to rush her to the hospital. But long story short, she's still there, and we're going to visit her almost daily. And I went yesterday, and I sat with her. Now, in the room itself where she's staying in the hospital, there's no reception, and obviously she can't speak, she can't interact, she doesn't do that anymore. She has dementia. After 5 minutes, there's not much of interacting with her because she can't understand you. She doesn't speak. So just sat there on a chair with no reception, just with your thoughts. So it got me thinking, and I don't want to make this philosophical. This is something that I genuinely thought about, was that here's my grandma. I remember when she was lively, she had a personality, but now she just lying down on the bed, can't speak, can't do much. And even if she wanted to, no matter how much of a growth mindset she had, there's not much she can do to move her life forward when it comes to goals and achieving things. So I was thinking to myself, eventually, that's pretty much guaranteed for all of us. We are eventually, going to get to that point. And I was thinking to myself, what can I learn from this? How can I, I'm here. Let's reflect on life in general. And I thought to myself, what is she thinking? She's probably thinking back to her life. How could she have done things better? With religion, health, wealth, relationships, etc. Which made me think of a point. Like, my intention moving forward is not specific things anymore. It's more not having remorse that I didn't show excellence with wealth, health, relationships, religion, most important. Really making sure that I show excellence with every single thing that I do. That I had to kind of think about my intention once again. And second point was something that Alex Mosey says, is think back from the 85-year-old self. What the 85-year-old version of you care about what people think about you. Care about whether you got a couple of calls booked after 100 people spoken to, or this many deals closed. Or me, and I have to think about myself, me getting a certain amount of ROAS when I spend a certain amount every single month on ads. Just forget about the ego, spend the money on ads, break things, break the systems if it has to, just scale it. Because I don't want to have remorse. And one thing that I have truly done, and I'm really grateful for, is for the past 4 or 5 years that, and even Ryan has seen my journey, I don't have remorse for anything. I truly have done, pretty much kept myself accountable for everything I wanted to do or have, which is something I'm really, really grateful for. And hopefully me sharing this story could have allowed you to think a bit about your goals and your intentions as well. That, hey, forget about the ego. Main thing is not having remorse when we're at the stage that my grandma's at, because that's probably one of the worst things that you can have. You're at that stage, you can't do anything else. And you know that just because a bit of fear, a bit of anxiety, a bit of an ego stopped you from getting the things that you need. But Ryan, I'll let you take over. Hopefully that was beneficial for you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, great points touched on that. And it does make you, these moments will stop you in life and they make you realize and make you reflect. And we're going to keep getting them as we get older. So whether we like it or not, it's a sure thing. And And I think, yes, it really makes you think ahead of time, doesn't it? If you can go, okay, if I keep doing what I'm doing every day, is it going to lead me to a point and an outcome in the future I'm going to be happy or more stressed out, or not pleased with where I've got? And, take the pressure off yourself on the day to day, when you can actually zoom out and look at a week, look at a month, and actually look at what you're trying to achieve in that time frame. It's when you put it in the moment each day and you get in this mind fuzz potentially that can take place, that we lose all sight of these things. So it's crucial to, again, have the bigger visions over here. So when you get that moment of time, you might get stuck, look over there, ground yourself again, then come back to it. And, ego is a tough thing, because there's so many people have so many different views on what an ego is and how it works. Ultimately, we're all going to have something somewhere that we've learned from when we were born. Certain experiences, certain things we've been told, stories and things that are deep within us that we don't even know how they're logically come to be, that make us who we are. And rather than fight against it, just know it's going to be there anyway. But it's for us to recognize what's coming out of ourselves and improve upon it, because we all have the ability to do so as an adult. It's not our fault. It's our fault really once we're an adult where we end up. It's not our fault how we get started, but it's entirely our fault how we finish every single time. We can blame circumstances and everything else in between, but as you've probably all seen, I bet if I was to ask every single one of you, you've all had people that have become ill, people that have died, people that have challenges, obstacles, things thrown at them. We've had things thrown at us. We're in the game of life together, and that means we've got no choice but to have to keep going through it regardless, and it's all there to teach us things. And be blessed that we have these abilities to see that and learn from that, because some people don't wake up enough, and we're all here for a reason that we clearly see more, and it's just about maintaining that vision and then further building that reality that is possible. So don't try to perfect things, don't talk down to yourself. Another thing I've also seen is we can get ourselves to where we destroy our own confidence because we're starting out, and rather than encourage ourselves like we would if a friend or family member embarked on this journey, we can sometimes have too much internal dialogue where we're too critical of ourselves. So be so mindful of that, because that in itself will not drive you. It will take all your energy away. And when it comes to you having to do the work you need to do, you won't be there to do it. It just won't happen. And I think it's having that mindset, rather than going, I can't do this, I don't think it will work, I will figure this out. There's a skill in this world by being a person who can just figure it out. We're not these one-dimensional beings, and in all the operations I've been in, the ones who succeed the most are those who just basically do and say is, I will figure this out. We have everything available in this world now. If we have that mindset to go, I'll figure this out, you will figure it out. But it's when we say, I can't do it, it's so tough, I don't think this is going to work, or whatever self-doubt gets going in, you'll be completely correct. That's what will happen to you.
Brian,
yes.
I want to give these guys an example of one of the guys that we worked with, and I don't want to name names. This guy was doing multiple seven figures. We were in his business, and we both realized over the couple of months that we did work with him that this guy, although he had an intense will to make things work, he had a lot of motivation, but he had zero people skills. Tried to reduce my commissions from 15% to 10 just within the span of a couple of days. But anyway, but this guy, I'm sure he's still winning. He's still doing what he wants to do. Because he has that will. He knows that no matter what, he'll make it work. And when I had a couple of those conversations with him, he always just had this intense confidence that no matter what, I will get to 20 million a year or whatever his goal was. Even though he didn't particularly have the skills to be able to get there, or even like a specific plan to get there. But this guy, I'm sure he's somewhere near there, or at least still making multiple seven figures. So when there's a will, there's a way. You don't have to have everything logically planned out. When there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, bang on. And again, I bet all of you experience this at some point, whether directly, you've seen it through others, it's there in black and white. It does work. And sometimes it sounds crazy, doesn't it? Just that mindset alone can propel you to those heights, and it will. You'll be talking from more conviction and confidence. And one thing I have learned from the moment I got started in the business world is the most convicted mind will always win. Every single time. No matter where and who you're with, no matter where you're at, who you're speaking to, you will always win in life when you actually have conviction in what you say and believe in. and people will take you serious. People will only take you at the level that you give yourself at, right? They don't know who you are. They have never met you before. Their initial judgment, and when I say judgment, it's not like they're critiquing everything. They'll just take you at face value. If you're confident, they'll assume you're confident. If you're a bit down and out, well, then they'll probably assume you're a bit down and out. That it's the biggest trick in the world. It's no one really knows you but you. No one knows your internal world. No one knows your background. When you're going out in the business world as well, it actually makes it really easy as well, because they don't need to know. Do you believe in what you're talking about? Yes, that's the big thing. So what I would say is some little action steps to get your confidence just increased. First of all, whatever you're offering in this marketplace, do a quick Google search of whatever it is that you're offering, and just see what your customers would see when they're Googling the thing you're offering. Know enough about what you're speaking about more than what the prospect knows. If they know more than you, and then you start talking, you're not going to be confident, because you know they might know a bit more. Do your research. Spend a few hours max just rehearsing and understanding the market's pain points you're speaking to, the typical person you're going to be dealing with, and just talking aloud your offer. Because if the only time you'll get confidence is by repetition of doing it. Now, by doing it, it might just be that you have to pick up the phone. And if that's the hardest obstacle, where are you going to get the confidence from? So find other ways to help yourself. If you're struggling, go for a walk. You might look like a madman, but you'll just do it by yourself somewhere. Start talking to yourself a bit and just speaking out your offer. Might sound bonkers, but you need to get yourself used to speaking those words. And you can't get confident in speaking those words until you have actually spoken them. And then you hear yourself. One thing I got told years ago, role playing. Yeah. When I first learned how to sell solar back when I was 19, they gave me a script, and then I just went through it. I went through it and started reading out loud, and started practicing it. Eventually, then when I'm actually, on the stage, it's easy. Why should I be worried? I've done the prep work. Same thing as an actor. They get a script, they know what they're doing, they know how they've got to position themselves, they go out and deliver. Could you imagine, right, if every actor just jumped into the movie set with doing no prior research, prep, and getting themselves set with their intentions and what they want to achieve, and they just went off? It might go 50-50. But if they're a brand new actor, it wouldn't be very good, probably. So for you guys, just give yourself the ability to make sure you do know what you're talking about. Role play with a spouse or friend or family. Even just get them, and this is something I found really useful, is if you've got a friend or someone you can trust, just get some questions that you're typically going to be asked, and ask them to ask you that question, and then just practice saying what you'd say. You just need to get more repetition of just speaking the things that you need to be speaking every day that are going to get you the results. Because if it's all in here still, it'll be so difficult for that to translate into reality. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a very good tip. Use your friends, family, people that you trust to go ahead and ask you those questions. And for the new offer guys, the way I'm approaching this is just searching up my biggest competitor and watching his podcast at 2x speed. So I listened to the way he approaches questions, and I listened to his Q&As, so that when the prospect is asking me questions, that I'm pretty much the expert from the beginning, because I've got the knowledge that they need. So that's literally how you go into any market. And Ryan, when we first started, you told me that, look, the fundamentals of sales will always stay the same. All you need to know is who you're speaking to and what their problem is. That's it. That is it. And literally, if you can learn this skill, you can go in any market, sell anything you want, and pretty much within 1 or 2 months, be at a 6-figure level, as long as you have a good enough lead generation system. It really is that powerful. So just knowing who you're selling to and what you're selling, and that's literally just done by listening to the competitors that you have, or even going to ChatGPT and just getting a few quick tips. You'll have to do that bit of effort. That stuff I can't individually give you guys for each niche that you're on. You just have to kind of watch 1 or 2 YouTube videos and really want to do this. It really does take that sort of effort at the beginning, at least. Ryan, we have like 3 minutes, and a request from me would be, that if you can just within the next 3 minutes, just give us solid points on what you've realized starting many operations from scratch, on what it truly takes to get momentum in any sort of offer, and the potential difficulty that is expected by any beginner. So just so people can see and know that whatever they're going through at the beginning is nothing out of the ordinary. It's expected. It's normal with any new offer, any new operation. It's testing, seeing what works or doesn't.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I'll give you the most recent example. So I took over a project in the 25th of November that was a sales operation in Miami that was going on the decline. The last month they did 50K cash collected. Their best month they did 150K a few months prior, and they were just in the whole team had kind of just got in together, brand new team, and all fell apart. Took it over, and the obstacles are dealt with from the beginning. The big thing they didn't have to find is who are they really going after. So this is where any operation I've ever taken over, whether it's start from scratch, like Arzam said as well, you need to go, who are you going after first? Because if you don't know who the who is, you're gonna literally be wasting all your time spinning around in circles, sending out messages and trying to reach out to everyone. And it'll be stupidly generic. It won't even connect with anyone. You'll just look like a spammer. So don't do that. So the first thing is to find who. So I had to define that and go, well, who are we selling to? How have we gone from 150K cash collected to 50K over a few months? How has that declined? They haven't defined who they're going after. So no matter how established you are, starting or beginning or scaling, wherever it is, the who can evolve and change over time. But effectively define the who. Then it's like, well, what are you actually solving? What are you trying to solve for them? What is it? Again, that's not always clear to find when you get started. You have an idea, it might be this, it might be that, but what is the end outcome that they're actually looking for? You can only really understand it, what they're looking to achieve, by who they are. By defining who they are, it doesn't mean you need to know what they eat for breakfast and what they get up to on a Sunday morning. But if they're in the business world, understand the sort of pains and problems and general issues that they face in their industry. Even the FAQs of that industry will tell you a lot about the who behind that business. There's always going to be a problem that you have to establish. There's always going to be a problem they've got, a pain or desire. So that's something I always look for with every operation is what are the problems, the pains and the desires that this marketplace has. And again, Google search, go down some forums, some YouTube videos. Don't spend days and weeks doing that, but just you can find it pretty quickly. And the main thing is getting yourself momentum, because you can ideate, you can strategize, you can do all these things. The number one thing is to just take the actions that will actually end up getting you directly in contact with the most important person, which is that prospect. No matter where I'm at, my big focus is always get in contact with them, start speaking to them ASAP. I get on calls, I'll be calling, I want to speak to them and get to know them as much as possible. So even if, don't put pressure on yourself by thinking I've got to close everyone and sell everyone. I'm in my research phase. Just go down that, just research with them, have some back and forth, understand what you're dealing with. From there, you can define better who they are, what they want, what their problem is. And then it's just about going heavy into momentum with dialing, emailing, networking, connecting the dots, however you need to get in front of your customer. Because without that, it just will never happen. Nothing will ever take shape. So you need to just get yourself into the point where you are just taking those actions every day in front of a prospect. That's always going to be the number one thing. And so I did that with this team. We ended up doing 86K cash collected in just under sort of 2.5-3 weeks in December, because it was a whole choppy time. I won't go into details, but very choppy. And we're now on track to do 250,000, yes, 250K this month now, because the main thing, we got the team back doing the things that actually move the needle forward, speaking to the leads, defining who they're speaking to, what are they trying to solve, what's the problems. And I know it might sound really simple, but that's just the biggest thing that always drives the operations forward when you focus on that. Define the who, the what's the problems, build momentum into the channels where you know your customers are. You can't lose. Yeah.
So when they 150K a month and the 50K as well, they had no clearly defined who? Like no?
Oh, they had some definition of who they were going after, but it wasn't built out to last. It was kind of they were just trying to throw things at the wall,
Right.
and they got muddy water with it all.
Another example of when there's a will, there's a way. You got to 150K a month, and did pretty decently afterwards as well by just having that will to do it, guys. Just have the intensity. I promise you, there's weirdly things that go in your favor when you have that intensity and that will.
It will do. I had to. These guys, I'll be honest with you, I took them over. There was 5 sales guys and 4 setters, and you're going, what's going on? They lost their will. They lost their intentions. A lot of the time, it's just bringing also back the intentions of the whole team. So I had to shift the culture, bring them conviction again, prove to them why their beliefs were not correct, even though they wanted to believe they were. We become an echo chamber. Careful who you hang around with, because no matter what you want to say is true, people can keep telling you it's true, even if it's not, because they live in. And these guys had kind of negged themselves out. Oh, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. This isn't possible. We've tried this. We've done that. No, it doesn't work like that. Go back to the fundamentals. Who are we actually going after? What is it we're actually offering? What's the problems this market this has? What are the desires? And then just hitting with positive momentum the people that we need to bring the sales in. And we've flipped it around now where everyone's driven, motivated, and beyond hungry, because they have the intention set again of why they're doing what they're doing. Another big thing why they held back, they didn't have the goals set. So they're just kind of spinning their wheels every day, getting on calls with no true belief, with not a true understanding of who they're really trying to help, why they're trying to do it, and what the problems are, and hoping that it's going to just somehow result in a magical transformation. There's always going to be some logic to this game.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Yeah. No, that was a great few points that we hit on this call. And hopefully, guys, this year really is the year that we can truly change all of our lives. All of us together, having these calls weekly. We're so blessed to have someone like Ryan coming on these calls weekly, and he's kindly agreed to do that consistently as well. Hopefully that stays. But hopefully we can really take these and put them into action, because again, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Great, we have this call. We've got a couple of good points, but will we apply it in the next coming week is the most important thing. We give you the recordings. You can check that out on my YouTube as well. Go through the recording again, make the notes if you haven't already, and really try and implement things this week. But for now, we'll end the call. We'll catch all of you next week. If, of course, you do have any questions, do let me know on WhatsApp. If you need any one-on-ones, Samir is there. And Ryan, how many people have messaged you so far?
I've had quite a few of you follow me. I don't believe anyone's messaged me directly, but I've got some new followers from this group. So again, I know Arzam says don't ask silly questions. Yeah. If you do, you'll get silly answers. But honestly, just feel free to just ask me what's on your mind and overcome the obstacle. I trust it won't take long. I'd rather help you get that clarity as well. I don't bite. I do promise on that. But if there's any way I can generally help, you'll be surprised what we can achieve, even a few minute conversation back and forth. So my Instagram, I'll just put it in the chat. It's RJB Sales. Just message me on there. If you genuinely need help, don't feel afraid. Do it. I'll help you. I promise you.
Amazing. I really appreciate that, Ryan. And guys, please do give us feedback. Feedback allows us to improve. On a scale of 1 to 10, how you found this call. 10 being this was perfect. This was exactly what I needed for the coming week. 0 would be this was terrible. I don't want to ever join the call again. Please give me a range on WhatsApp so I can take feedback and potentially improve, inshallah. But I will catch you guys next week. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye, everyone.